beat Coakley in Massachusetts. Obama no longer has his supermajority in the Senate, and therefore, perhaps the most important ramification of Coakley losing in Massachusetts is that the Obama administration, the Democrats, finally have the excuse they need to get nothing done on health care. And of course, everybody realized that yesterday immediately because, business pays attention to these things. And you could tell, how business felt about it just by looking at the stock market, where pharmaceutical companies, their stocks went through the ceiling yesterday. Insurance companies, their stocks went through the ceiling yesterday. So I wonder if healthcare is derailed. That might be the case. But like I said at the beginning, I think the important thing is Obama has the excuse he needs to get nothing done. And I also love the fact that, how this is being played by various people, the Brown victory. Even Brown himself says, "Oh, it's not a referendum on Obama." Yeah, I'm sure it isn't. No, I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that generally everybody who voted for Obama pretty much sees him as selling them out. But I'm sure people aren't upset about that. I'm sure they're all okay with it. Yeah. And I love the way that, this one article I read talked about how Brown tapped into, the general displeasure of the electorate. And oh, what was it? It wasn't the misdirected. It was, I can't remember the word they used. They had this wonderful word that just talked about, how this anger was just kind of sitting out there and people were upset. But not upset at anybody in particular. Certainly not upset at Obama. Oh, man. Nobody is getting it. Nobody's even trying to get it anymore. Nobody is willing to even mention the fact that maybe because Obama is seen by the people as who voted for him as selling them out, that maybe they are not as enthralled with the, lack of change. They voted for change. They didn't really seem to get any, and now they're kind of upset because they feel like they voted for somebody and he wasn't really telling them what he was going to do. So anyway, you gotta love American politics. So we're looking at this thing now, up there and in Massachusetts, and you know, I encourage everybody to just kind of watch how this is being played. See what people say about it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of hand-wringing from the Democrats. But like I said, I think the important thing is now they've got, a way that they could say, well, we tried and we just couldn't get it done because, fucking Republicans. Or who knows, maybe they'll still manage to pass something so half-assed because at the end, the Republicans will decide that they can't be viewed as obstructionists, so something has to pass as long as it's so watered down that it won't affect any of their corporate paymasters. Who knows how it's going to end up at this point, but I'll tell you one thing. Anyone who is optimistic about getting a decent health care plan can just fucking forget about that stuff because it is over. I don't care what Grayson says about nothing changing if the Senate changes, but look at the way that they were talking before this happened. They were talking like they couldn't get anything done without a supermajority. And I think that's probably true of the Democrats because they don't have the same kind of arm twisting and control that the Republicans have. At least not in recent memory. So, assuming that just because they have a majority of Democrats, they can get them all to vote for something, I think is not borne out by history. So, and I think more and more that's just by design. It's not that the Democrats want to help us and they just can't do it. It's because they don't really want to, help regular people, and they're just looking for excuses about why they can't get it done. And that's honestly the way I feel about it because, they had their supermajority, they've had it for like a year, and honestly, they've done nothing with it except reward their corporate paymasters and fuck over the little guy. So, you know what? The Democrats deserve what happened to them in Massachusetts. And a lot more bad things are going to happen to them, and they deserve all that too. And maybe at the end of all this, we'll have a party, maybe the Democrats, maybe somebody else who gives a fuck about the American people. And that's something to look forward to because it ain't the Democrats right now, and I don't even think it's going to be them after this because they're going to get all the wrong messages from it. They're not going to realize that, them selling out the people who voted for them is the source of the problem and not an irritant that they need to find a way around. Um, but I mean, I'm not holding my breath for like there being any kind of outbreak of rationality or for them getting any of the right messages from what's happening here. They're going to say that it's not indicative. They're going to say that it's an anomaly. They say it's not a referendum on Obama. Hey, the Republicans even want them to think that it's not a referendum on Obama. Go ahead, stay in your dream world. It's really good for us when you're there because then you're not like dealing with the real world. So anyway, this is Zach Elliott, and as always, you can feel free to argue. Take care, people.